Well, indeed, here we are once again. Welcome, everyone, to your midweek fantasy fix. I do apologize if I seem a little bit under the weather. I am. It's been very stressful. I've developed a mouth ulcer directly on my tongue. Talking is awkward, but talking we shall do. We've had a few developments that I can see. Let's have a quick say hello first. We've got Nikita, Dabbling Warlock. I will get to you. AGP, welcome. Paladin Steve. Driving and Dragons, welcome. There is Skull Celeste. Welcome, Celeste. We've got Oldwood here. A good showing from the members today. And I note that I need to click the end poll button. And of course, Alyssa has won. Who is the fairest of them all? Obviously, Alyssa. Then Dean and Brass and I are apparently tied at 10%. Brilliant. Utterly brilliant. So, I thank you very much, Mr. Dabbling Warlock, for becoming a member at the Law Sworn level. You should have had a link when you click join that will let you into our private chat room. I've also got your super chats here, but I'll get the rest of the panel in first so they can sort of pick up my slack. We'll start with Dean. Oh, Dean.
Oh, hiya, Jack. How are you doing?
I'm all right. You know, I'm struggling along. What about you, my friend?
Not bad. Hard working hard. Yes.
Working hard or hardly working?
Oh, no, quite the opposite. And of course, I straight after this, I get probably 4 hours sleep. I'm back up talking Babylon 5, early hours in the morning.
You're back on there? Are you a regular there now?
Semi-regular. I just enjoy Babylon 5, and finding a group that talks about it is being fantastic. So, yes, worth getting up at 3:30 in the morning.
A bloody nerd. That's what you are. Right, who else should we get? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's Alyssa. Hello, Alyssa.
Hello. We all know I only won because it's my birthday. Brass would have cleared the poll if it hadn't been, but I thank you all.
I mean, if you actually knew what Brass looked like, he's an Adonis, like blonde-skinned,
I mean, he's
glowing
a dragon.
golden
Like, how
hair.
can I compete with that? Every bard in 20 miles has him on their radar.
Moving swiftly on before we make jokes about a certain website. Let's bring in the man himself, shall we? There he is.
It's very true. Yeah. Get at least 3 of them a day.
And they're all delicious.
None of them are older than that 20 yet.
Well, even so, he's a brass dragon, so he can out charisma any bard.
Not in the new edition.
Oh dear.
Terrible.
Well, speaking of the new edition, the chap that we invited along has not arrived. Maybe he'll turn up a little bit later on. But this was inspired by a YouTuber by the name of Dungeon Noob, who Brass and I were hanging out in his stream, just in the chat, and we were asking him questions because I'll tell you what, Brass, why don't you tell us how you found this guy?
So, I don't know if any of you are old school Brass fans, in other words, like more than 6 months, where I did a tweet about the Tarask versus the Ancient Red Dragon, okay, who was going to win, all that type of thing. So, I was randomly scrolling through YouTube, and I saw Ancient Red Dragon versus Tarask as a video, and I thought, oh shit, I'm going to click on that. So this guy's concept was he apparently runs the data through simulations like it's Deadliest Warrior, okay? And he determines the winner. And then it determined that, I think the Tarask won, but it's like the Red Dragon won 40% of the time, and I thought that's not right, because if it knew anything about these monsters, it would be a 0% of the time, because the Red Dragon can't hurt the Tarask, because all of its damage types it's immune to. So I thought, this is strange. How did he work this one out? So I went into his description, and it says he uses AI. The AI generates the results for him, and it says in the thing, like, you know, it's accurate results and all that type of thing. And I thought, this is not accurate results. So then I went on to another one. Tiamat versus the Tarask. Tiamat did win, but I think it was like 52% of the time. And I thought, how on earth has this happened? And in the video, it said she won because her divine word spell was reflected by the Tarrasque's carapace. That isn't how that works. And then another one is the new Tarrasque has a thunderous roar. It does psychic damage, no, thunder damage even, and it frightens and deafens you, okay? In a big radius. And apparently this knocked Tiamat out of the sky. And I thought, again, that's not how that ability works. There's nothing in there about a knockdown on that ability, so that can't have happened. Then there was Demi-Lich versus Lich. The Lich would win 100% of the time because the Demi-Lich has 80 HP, the Lich has power word kill. There's only one outcome. But the Demi-Lich, I don't think it won again, but it was like quite close. So I was talking to Jack about this, thinking like, I think this is, I even made a tweet about it, a cautionary tale against using AI because of how utterly wrong it was on almost every single video that I watched, right? Not to mention, there's also a Kurzgesagt video that just came out talking about how wrong AI is. But anyway, we'll get into that. And then we went over to this guy's stream, because as I was talking to Jack about this, I looked on YouTube and he was live, and I thought, okay, let's go over there. So we were talking to him about it. Fair play to the guy. He acknowledges the mistakes. He acknowledges it's not exactly perfect. You know, he's just doing it because it's fun. Fair enough to the guy. And it turned out he was new at D&D. I don't think he's ever played anything other than like a one-shot. He did play, I think he said he played
back
like
in the day,
50 years ago, back in the day.
First edition.
Yeah,
when
that
he
sort
was
of
10.
thing. But now he's saying he's getting back into it. He's got the new 2024 rules and the books and all that type of thing, and he's making YouTube videos about it. Very well edited videos, very better than mine. But yeah, I think it explained a lot that he was very, very new, because I thought if he did any due diligence and actually understood the monsters, he would know that the results were wrong.
And so the evolution of that is, well, if we've got someone who he wants to get into D&D, but he's finding it difficult to do so, then let's have a stream. Invite him on. Get some people that are nice rather than critical.
Also, Driving in Dragons, I know you're saying the Red Dragon's going to win. We're talking purely stats-wise. And also, the Red Dragon can't hurt the Tarrasque in 5e, so it can't win.
Bunch of nerds, a lot of you.
Well, okay, I will say before we get too far into things, if you're looking at it from less a statistical reality and looking at like the lore itself. Now, I don't know as much about it as you guys do, but an ancient dragon of any variety, I think Driving in Dragons mentioned it, would have amassed relics and things like that. And I think that to give credit to the, not actually the AI, but the result, I think that the cunning of the dragon would also come into play, where it might use environmental hazards at play, or like trickery.
That's what my tweet was about when I did Ancient Red Dragon versus Tarrasque. I said the only way it's going to win is through outside means, using its intelligence and resources, not its physical actual stats. However, someone did also mention, why doesn't the Red Dragon, like environmental means? The environment can't hurt the Tarrasque either.
It is the environment.
This is the problem. It can't be hurt by fire, so volcanoes can't harm it. It can't be hurt by earth, because it can move through the earth like it's water. And if you drop a boulder on it, that's non-magical damage, I'm afraid. That does 0 damage. You could drop a mountain on it. It doesn't matter. Is the mountain magical? No. So therefore...
Before we go too far down this rabbit hole, we have a couple of super chats to get to. One of which was actually Paladin Steve, $10 dues. Happy birthday, Alyssa.
There's been a couple of happy birthdays in the chat, so I just want to give a blanket thank you guys so much.
Indeed. And thank you for giving me money for it.
28 years around the sun, and I'm still alive, so I think that's pretty good.
I told you on Twitter a few weeks back that 28 is where the changes start.
Yeah, I mean, I got pregnant, so that's a change.
Right, what else do we have? We'll go backwards. We got Skull, member at the Lawsworn level. Question for the panel. Which victory is more iconic, the Battle of Agincourt or the Battle of Trafalgar? Also, why do I hate gnome artificers? because they're gnomes and because they're artificers. Next, what do you guys think? Trafalgar or Agincourt? What's
That's
more
out of
iconic?
That's not
It
out of my hands.
depends entirely on what era of history you're more into. I think Agincourt, but then that's just the one I know more about. So
Yeah. What about you, Dean?
I don't know. You're comparing two very different battles here.
One naval, one land.
Yeah. It's like which fruit is better, apples or oranges?
Apples.
Yeah. So I go for apples. There we go.
Okay, nice. The answer to this question is apples. I think Trafalgar is probably more iconic today, but I am a sucker for Henry V, so Agincourt for me. I do like a bit of French bashing either way. The next super chat that we have for $10 dues from the Dabbling Warlock for the crown, ha ha ha. In November, he wants to challenge me into learning how to draw with him.
good idea. Do it. Do it.
Now, he didn't say what type of drawing, so this could be drawing swords, drawing bows. You could genie loophole your way out of this conversation if you wanted to.
Yeah, I could. We shall see. I've got a lot going on at the mo. We shall see is where I will place that. You're in the private chat now. When you start, perhaps that will inspire me to give it a go. I shan't just use AI, I promise. Where were we? Red dragons are beating up Tarasques.
Well, I will say it doesn't have to be the conversation of the full episode. But I recently, and this might be just because I'm getting into like a little bit more of like Vietnam War stuff and like old American kind of stuff. But the phrase youth versus old age and trickery makes me think that the Red Dragon would have a couple things up its sleeve in terms of being able to beat a Tarrasque. But
I mean, yeah, it would have resources at its disposal. Absolutely.
I mean, either way, I'm not going to be around to see what happens because I'm going to the other side of the continent. No matter what way this goes, if there's an ancient dragon and a Tarrasque fighting over territory, you guys can keep it.
Also,
going
someone
that
mentioned it could drop the Tarrasque from the stratosphere. Two things. It can't pick the Tarrasque up, it's too big. And the other thing, is the stratosphere magical?
Indeed,
it takes no damage.
I feel like this question requires copious amounts of alcohol and 5 or 6 hours where no conclusion will be found.
Fun fact, the Tarrasque cannot beat a werewolf. Because the werewolf is also immune to non-magical damage.
All right, I feel like we're just gonna have to have a Tarrasque episode and like come up with like a tournament of random monsters and figure out based just on stats and like a little like what
this
could actually.
This is the entirety of the Brass Drakes YouTube
That's
channel.
what I'm going to make a tier list video about monsters, right? Maybe throughout other fictions as well, not just D&D, on how likely they are to beat the Tarrasque.
And that's your plug for your YouTube channel. If you want to see more like this, hop on over to...
Put your link in the chat.
There's a big problem you got, which is you're trying to compare two creatures on a very flawed system that has some sweeping rules that allow creatures not to affect each other. It's like iron golems versus red dragons. Iron golems win each time because they can only be harmed by magic and they're immune to fire. There's so many of these problems you've got. If you're going to do this, and I think it's a great idea, Brass, if you're going to do it, go to 2nd or 1st edition and do it with those creatures.
Okay, I thought you were going to say go to Untold Destiny, but I'm impressed that you restrained yourself.
Well, Tarrasque is a trademark of Wizards, so I can't really...
How? It's a mythological creature!
You'll be surprised what they trademarked. They trademarked a lot of creatures.
Who hasn't shown up yet, the guy who inspired the whole conversation. In his video, he did state, I think afterwards, that he gave the dragon magical attacks for the sake of fairness. which is what I did as well in my because it makes sense. Why would it
Yeah.
not have magic attacks?
In Untold Destiny, that fight would be epic, and it would be brilliant, and it would be told as a tale for all times.
Yes.
But in
People who
AD&D,
didn't live because you're not going to want to be anywhere near this fight.
no, you don't.
Ah, it's Yang. Hello, Yang. Afternoon.
Hmm.
Oh boy.
All right, so I think there was a topic we gathered for besides just Tarask versus whatever random Pokemon shows up. It's like well, it's like the Tarask is like perfect sell at this point. We're just lining up a line of people to try to
Who
defeat him.
wins? The Tarask or Dritz?
Oh, God. Well, Dritz does have magical weapons, so he wins, obviously.
Yeah, so obviously the fact he has magical weapons would mean that the fight was over and done with. Like,
Who wins, the Tarask or the Archlich Margaret Thatcher?
Oh, that's a good one.
She probably has the wish spell, so
Yeah.
she wins.
Yeah.
mm,
I always enough Tarask stuff.
all right. So I believe we were here to throw people in the deep end. I think we should start by rolling a d4 to see which one of us gets in the dunk tank first.
I have a D20 and a D6 to hand.
Oh, terrible. Oh well.
Either way, how do you get into D&D in the modern era?
That is I feel like that's a very interesting question to even start with, because I think a lot of people look at stuff that's online if they don't have a comic book shop, and I feel like depending on what comic book shop you go to, you can have a very different experience in terms of what you can get into. Because if you don't know anybody in the hobby, and you don't know anybody in the hobby, if you're going online, there's I think gonna be a little bit more variety. I think 5th edition is pretty much one of the dominant games if you go online. I think there's also some Call of Cthulhu. Occasionally there's some other things as well. Pathfinder.
Let's take a step back.
Okay.
I am a Zoomer now. I'm up and coming. I'm 17, 18 years old. I want to get into the hobby. I type in Dungeons and Dragons onto Google or YouTube. What do I find?
YouTubers.
Gibbity Riz.
I despise that.
More Critical Role.
That's the thing. Critical Role. I have defended Critical Role in the past as a good gateway into more serious D&D.
Yeah.
However, I have hey, do it. So I have withdrawn my support of Critical Role after they didn't use Daggerheart for season 4, and also because I ordered Daggerheart to give it a fair chance, and it never arrived. So I cancelled the order.
Do it.
That's terrible.
Oh, there's another one. Jack McCarthy.
Hey, Jack. Good seeing you, buddy. When I was as an actual grade A American Zoomer, I'm the oldest of the generation. I started off playing with my dad, but during college and after, I ended up getting into our college D&D club. And I think that D&D clubs are becoming more of a thing in terms of high schools and colleges again. So I think that might also be another way that people are getting into the hobby, especially because I feel like more and more people are drawn to like the physical in-person game again, especially this far after COVID. So, but
I agree. We got a young player in our Sunday game, and he got into D&D through the school club. He prefers Untold Destiny, obviously, but he got into D&D at the school club. They get about 2-hour sessions, and it's a great way of youngsters getting into the game. But where they go from there, because when we ran at Crusade, so Crusade was an event before COVID that in January It's on the role play calendar in Wales at St Cyrus School. A load of people go there, a load of traders, and they were mostly about wargaming. And they wanted to go into role play. So we volunteered to do run sessions for them and to do some sort of like 40-minute D&D sessions. And there, one of the gaming groups, young kids, came to one of the sessions, and I was having a chat. And the problem they had is the person who was running the session wasn't really a role player. I think it was more just like a hobby thing. So these kids had so many questions about whether what they were doing was right or wrong, and the approach. And one of them was the DM. It's always the same. You have a group come together, and then the dynamics fall in such a way that one of them always rises up to be the DM. And if they're unlucky, they never escape that role, and they're fixed to that.
I feel like that's a tale of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was me. I was the unfortunate one.
That was back in the 70s.
Yeah, and there's this young lad. He was asking, I've got this problem, I got that problem. How do I deal with this? How do I deal with that? And so I think school clubs are a great way to get into D&D. I think Stranger Things has really opened up the door for youngsters to know about the hobby and to ask the right questions. Mm-hmm. I don't know where you go from there. You got a lot of, in the UK at least, you've got like RP Haven, which is a big club, and so you could potentially go to one of the bigger clubs. But if you're in the States, it's a huge country, and you could be right out in the middle of the sticks with no friends around, or really anybody who could play the game with you.
Yeah, it's at that rate, it's mostly if you don't know someone already, it would be going to your local comic book shop and looking at who has an open slot.
Yeah.
That's actually how I primarily do Pathfinder right now. It's how I met my husband, is just ending up kind of randomly crossing paths at a comic book shop while we were at a Saturday one-shot together. And
the rest is history.
And the rest is history. But it can be a little difficult because it's a limited space, and there's it's a limited space, and people, if the slots are filled up, it's like, okay, these people are filled up. There's like one group that has maybe 2 players in it already, and that might be for certain reasons that we don't want to be mean to some GMs, but some people are just difficult to deal with. I mean, the internet has revealed this to us. So it's something. Wow. And on his not birthday too. Wow. But no, I think it can be a little difficult, but especially when people are just generally socially awkward, like they are in the hobby. But it's about persistence and kind of just getting to know the people in the area, and getting to know the people at the comic book shop. Because sometimes if you're just nice to somebody, like, oh yeah, look, we're kind of full up, but if you want to come in on a one shot, that might work well. Or maybe they're starting up a home game and they like you. So it's kind of about, I don't want to say about networking, but it's about sitting down with people, making connections, being polite, not being weird. I know that sounds kind of odd, but like not being the guy who stands next to the table as close as humanly possible,
And
breathing
breathing
on the necks of the players and watching. It's like, can we help you? Oh, I just want to watch. Oh, okay. That's nice. Thank
Anyway,
you.
you're married to that guy now.
That's true. No, it's sometimes it's a luck of the draw. Sometimes it's just a waiting game. Sometimes it's just being patient and a little extroverted and getting to know people. So
yeah, I remember when I was first getting into role play. So I'd played a lot of solo games, choose your own adventure books. But once I got the red box set, Basic D&D, from a place called FC Parker's in Cardiff, they're not there anymore. Games Workshop kind of shut them down. Once I got the red box set, I was looking for a gaming group, and in that shop you had a notice board, and they said just put up a request, and someone replied, and God, it was nerve-wracking meeting new players for the first time. You don't know who these people are. You've never role-played in a group before, but yeah, it opened up an amazing door. I landed on my feet. Yeah.
And you were immediately cursed as the forever DM.
Well, not at that point. It took 6 months, and then yes.
6 months. How long have you been playing for?
Oh, since a lot. 35, 36,
Oh boy,
37 years.
37 years.
38
6 months
years.
of which you got to play the game.
Yeah. Every now and then I get to play, but not often.
Before we go on to what Brass thinks, I want to quickly bring in not our scheduled guest, but here's Yang. You know,
Hey everyone.
I found him
Yang.
going through the rubbish bins outside and thought he should probably come inside.
Gotta make ends meet.
How you doing, man?
Good. A little stressed, but good.
I
I heard that somebody's had a Kickstarter recently.
I have a Kickstarter now.
Oh, get the
Ooh.
link, because we were going to do
Oh.
this anyway. Get the link. This is
All right.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Through the private chat.
Alyssa, I'm going to start charging you for all the Kickstarters that aren't yours that come through these doors. Right, everyone. Here is Yang's Kickstarter. Go and back it. Good, be good now. Okay, there you go. You can go now. We've done a bit.
The best horror campaign you'll find for 5e or 1e.
Nice. And Alyssa, you know, horror is your thing.
That is true. That is true. I got my Invisible Man shirt on today too to prove it.
Speaking of things that haunt my dreams, Brass,
Morning.
how do you get into D&D? Because your story was a little bit similar to mine.
Well, look, I didn't have any D&D clubs. We didn't even have a chess club in my school. It was all crackheads and chavs. So there was no nerdy shit in my school at all. None of that.
Apart from you.
So I think my first game technically was I wasn't even a one shot that I did at yours during university. It was like 4
I
taught
ran
me
you
how
a-
to kill gnolls, and we never
Yeah.
finished the combat. Then I did a 3.5 game with a bunch of other guys in Oxford, all drunk and having pizza, and everyone was backstabbing each other. The ranger he hated goblins on his character sheet, so every time there was goblins in the vicinity, he just opened fire on the nearest person,
Based.
including his own allies. Shot the barbarian in the back 5 times because he was in the way of the goblins.
Based.
So, you know, that was fun. But yeah, I technically got into D&D because when I did it myself, because I didn't have any of the books, I didn't know any of the rules, none of that, but I did World of Warcraft roleplay, right? So I had some roleplay experience, and I got a bunch of people around the table at my house in person. I didn't have a clue how to do D&D at all, never even read a single book. So I made it up as I went, and we came up with our own system, and it functioned. And then eventually, in 2020, all that ended because of a thing that happened. And and then, well, Jack got me on Roll20. He started DMing a game online. I joined. It was great fun. I started DMing a game online for practically the same group. It was slightly different by then. There was a few different ones. But the rest is history. 5 years, nearly 6... Oh, actually, yes, nearly 6 years we've been playing it now.
Nearly. 6 years, by the way. 6 years now, rather than 5.
Yeah, we'll have to update the meme. Yeah.
Celeste,
yeah.
check your DMs.
In all that time, you know, we've been playing mostly with the same people, and Jack and I are the only ones that actually know how to play the game.
I don't know. The Vixen knows what she's doing. Hold on.
Sure.
Carry on talking amongst yourselves. I'm doing something important.
Tarrasques and Red Dragons.
No.
Gotta put a quarter in the Tarrasque jar now.
Yeah, I'm going to make a whole
Right.
video on Tarrasques.
I did it. I have done it.
What have you done?
I have pledged to Yang's live on stream $30 pledged to Yang Jiao
Oh, nice.
for
Awesome.
his
Thank you.
his Kickstarter. or the 5e version, because that's what we know how to play. I believe, didn't Bill write this or help you write this?
So Bill is doing the translation from the 5e to the 1e for me.
Nice.
Because, in my opinion, if you're gonna do a translation for another version, it should play like that version, not like like a Google Translate version of a 5e game. So I said, if someone is gonna make it feel like it was written in 1e, it's gonna be him.
Very true. There you go. I've shared it on X as well.
Thank you.
I do think people need to support independent creators, which is why this show does so well, I think. So what I've done there is I've just basically donated the proceeds I've made so far from this stream to you.
And you will get a fantastic game that you'll never forget because of it.
Look, I'm like I'm the hype man. That's what I do.
I am the hype. Anyway, Yang, how did you get into D&D? What was your story?
Oh, so that's a funny question because I'm old and I'm also American. So that means I grew up during the Satanic Panic.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a time during the Satanic Panic, too, that it's not only was it considered dangerous by like parents, it was considered extra nerdy, and you don't want to be associated with that stuff because other kids will beat you up. So I had all the books for 2E. Like, it must have been right around the time it came out. And I just could not find anyone to play. For some reason, Marvel superhero role-playing games was just fine, but not D&D. So then it was actually years later, I got really bad pneumonia for 6 months at like the end of 2015. Like, I was out of work for 6 months. So I watched all the Critical Role because I had absolutely nothing else to do. And I'm too cheap for cable. So after that, I was like, I should start playing. And I did.
So you didn't play back in the day then? You're quite recent.
I had all the books. I even had accessories. I keep this guy around from 2E. It's fantastic. But no, I played other tabletop role-playing games, but actual D&D, the first one I technically played was 5E.
Well, now we know that we can drag you into the streets as fake OSR.
Translated OSR.
I jest, of course. I jest. My story is somewhat similar to Brass's in that I didn't really have a D&D club in school, but we wanted to know how to play, and so we just made up our own stuff until eventually my parents got me 4th edition for Christmas. Which is why when people sort of shit on 4th edition, I go, well, I kind of like 4th edition because I had the books. I have some fond memories with it. But yeah, I find making stuff up as you go along is kind of what, is kind of what D&D is anyway.
I'm not laughing at you. Driving into Dragons just put
OSR.
OSR.
All right. If I could give out some kind of points, I would.
That's pretty good.
No, it's
Sorry,
a shame.
continue.
It's a shame that Ron has no-showed because I was going to sort of bounce off him a lot for this and try and get him into a place where he could talk to other people that wanted to play the game.
Now, I mean, I fell asleep for 2 hours yesterday on the couch, so I mean, I have no room to judge anyone anymore.
I won't judge. Something could come up that I'm just not privy to.
Yeah.
So I'm not disparaging. In fact, I would encourage people to go and subscribe to the Dungeon Noob because he's a lovely bloke by the sound of it.
Yeah, stuff happens. Life happens.
Life comes first.
Yeah, we'll probably run into him like in like a couple weeks, anyways. Again.
He'll join as I'm ending the stream.
Yes. Okay, this is going to be the hot topic. If you had to get someone new into the hobby who knew nothing about it, which system would you start them with?
Okay, well, firstly, I would need some handcuffs, chain, whip.
Wait,
What kind of role play are we doing?
My honest answer,
Hmm.
and it's not just because he's there, Untold Destiny. And the reason I say that is because I need to learn it.
You're coming with me, buddy.
Yeah, Untold Destiny, because one, it's a new experience for the entire table, and that way everyone grows together.
Mhm.
But also, it takes 5th edition's fine.
Yeah.
I like 5th edition. I did a whole thing saying 5th edition good, actually. I think I've just outgrown it.
Yeah.
And I think it's showing its age, and it's got a bit fat in its old age, a bit bloated. There's too much stuff to it.
Mm.
Far too many gnome artificers running around.
Mm.
Otherwise,
Get
if
the
you
garden hose out and start spraying them.
if it's just 2014, 2015, 2016 material, fine. You go beyond that, it starts getting a little bit
Mm.
crazy. Brass will disagree.
Yeah, probably. Because you don't need to use any of that shit. You just need the basic core rulebooks. Job done.
Yeah, no, you are completely correct. But I was asked now if I had to get someone into a TTRPG now. Well, it's got to be something that I want to play. And whilst I could sit down, I could say 4th edition. I know how to play 4th edition, but I don't really want to go back to it. You know? Oh, hello, Sable. Welcome. I am looking forward to the cow print bikini pic. I'm saying that now for the whole world to hear.
Out of context stuff is funny out of context.
I can explain the context, but I won't.
But fair enough.
To answer Alyssa's question, though, right? So I would say 5e because it's the system I know how to play, and also I wouldn't really do other systems because people haven't heard of other systems. When they say Dungeons and Dragons, oh, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons. I've heard of that. You're not going to give them Pathfinder, and Untold Destiny's good, but once we need to get popular, we need to get the name out first before we need to become a household name, right? Because otherwise, if I sit someone down for Dungeons and Dragons, I'm like, oh, we're playing Untold Destiny, they'd be like, what the fuck is that? Right? So, I would say 5e. However, right, there's one thing that would change my mind. If you look up 5e now, right now we're not in a bad spot. It's still, if you type in, for example, Shocking Grasp 5e, you will get the 2014 description. But I am noticing more and more and more as time goes on, and they're pushing it more. It's being replaced by the shit 5e, which is 2024. And I don't have the cool rule books for 2024. I have the monster manual. That's about it. So I wouldn't know how to run that shit. So when people come along, what weapon properties does my greatsword have? Oh, it has none. Get over it. Right? We're not playing that version of the game. Oh, but I want to do my trip attack. This isn't Baldur's Gate 3, right? This is 5e. You will do 2d6 damage and you will like it.
Movie guy John has a good point there. In that if you're bringing someone new in, yeah, it probably is best to go with something that you know. I can see the argument for that.
Oh, absolutely. It's got to be, if it's someone new, they don't want someone running the game who's hesitant about the rules. They need someone who understands what they're doing, can hold their hands all the way through and create a great experience. The one thing I found in Crusade, running the 5e stuff, we had some new players. Perfectly fine. It's nice, it's easy, it's simple. I designed the character sheets in a way where all the abilities were on the sheet, so you didn't have to reference rules, and a player could pick it up, nice shorthand. They could run their character. When I was doing Untold Destiny one-shots, I did the same thing. Had a very tailored character sheet with pretty much all that the character could do in plain English, the dice you rolled, and no one had any issues with the system. But then the key thing being, as the creator, I understood it, so I could run it with that confidence. I wouldn't say to someone, run Untold Destiny if they weren't confident with it, because the new player, and we're talking about someone who hasn't experienced roleplay before, would have a terrible experience, and that could mar their future into that hobby, or they could think the hobby's not for them. So run the system you're most comfortable with. and make sure the character sheets are not the complicated character sheets that an experienced player would have. Do a nice condensed version that is in plain English.
If ideally you could even make a character for them. If it's 5e, the way I've had people in work ask, "Oh, do you want to run a game of 5e for us?" They never actually go through with it. But I have pre-made level 1 characters, and they're just the simple classes: fighter, rogue, barbarian, and there is a cleric, right? But I have given it like NPC spells. I haven't even built it like a proper cleric. You get healing word, you get bless. That's it. Right?
Yeah, that's all you need. Pre-gen characters.
That's it.
You've made a Moldavi's basic for 5e, is what you've made there, Brass.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just to answer Alyssa's question, for me, I would go a little different. I would get them to play Dread. Because in Dread, you don't have to worry about like what class are you, what race are you. You don't have to worry about numbers. It's just a Jenga table and like, okay, there's this gaping pit. What are you going to do? And then, someone's like, oh, I was an Olympic gymnast. Okay, pull a block, see if you make it. I think as an introduction to role-playing, Dread is possibly the easiest. Also, they don't have to put on like fancy medieval accents and whatnot.
Yes, they do.
We'll ease them into that.
You have one built in. I don't want to hear anything.
It's extra work for us over here.
This Eastern, listen, do you hear this coming out of my mouth right now?
The growl.
Do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? You don't want to hear me try to do my Mr. Darcy impression, do you?
I kind of do.
It worked for Kevin Costner and Robin
Maybe
Hood.
some other time. Just do like a
Unlike some Robin
late
Hoods,
night
I can do a
stream.
British accent.
Do a late night stream after the baby's born when I have a thing of rum in me, and then we'll do a live stream.
Oh boy!
In my Jack imitation.
You're gonna be driven to drink immediately.
I
I think there's something we're missing, by the way. Two things actually. One is Hero Quest. Hero Quest is a fantastic introduction to sort of how to go through a dungeon. I think Hero Quest is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think what we should probably ask is, why are we getting them into D&D or into TTRPGs? And there should be a written test after a year course on the Appendix N. But getting someone into fantasy first is probably where you want to start.
Yes.
If someone has an interest in knights and dragons and saving the princess, they're probably going to be a perfect fit for D&D. If they're more into inventions and doohickeys, probably not. I'm looking at you, Artificer players. You're not welcome.
Yep.
Well, and I think you make a good point about like what is bringing them into the hobby, because if they're interested in science fiction, Traveler is also a great system. I like the fact that you can die in character creation, and I think that's a great team building exercise. Actually, can you make it through character? Can you live through character creation?
We would go and have a space adventure right now, but we all died.
For me personally, and I think if you want to go for a genre outside, like Castles, Call of Cthulhu is also pretty big. So if someone's wanting to do something more horror centric and they don't want to do Yang's new material for some godforsaken reason, Call of Cthulhu would be great. If they want to go Indiana Jones, there's always Hollow Earth Expedition, which is a great cinematic, pretty easy to get into kind of thing. Great for one shots. I'm always, now it's been a while since I've played, so that's the caveat. I think Castles and Crusades is just a great place to start as well. Like I would bring the book to like my elementary school class and was able to read through it fine. So any grown adult should be able to comprehend it pretty well. So I think it also has a lot of great like source books if you want to expand out and you don't have the time to do so. Also, Trollord Games doesn't come with the baggage that WotC has.
Trollord are pretty cool.
And the thing is with Dungeons and Dragons, though, if you look up Dungeons and Dragons, you're going to find Critical Role and things. So people are going to bring into an expectation based on what they look up. at this point, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Because there's also the movie. There is the movie. There's stuff with WotC.
People recognize the brand before they recognize what a TTRPG actually is.
Yeah. So if you want to run something like the Dungeons and Dragons movie or Critical Role, I think Dungeons and Dragons is a great place to start. But if you don't, I don't want to say there's a lot of lore now attached to Dungeons and Dragons, but it is a bit of a mess when you're explaining, oh, this is why we don't use this part or this part or this part, or like if they go online, oh, Gary Gygax was blah, 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 blah. We're not going to get into that on live stream, but like you don't have to get into that whole thing like at this point. That's why I think there's a value, or that, or Shadow Dark, which I've run. I don't know it super well, but I have run it, and I think it's a great little.
One of the points you're making here might be something you're not meaning to make, and that is it is an utter minefield for people that wants to go into the hobby.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think in some respects, stripping all of it away, because choice can spoil, right? You can be stuck for choice. Stripping it all away, and if you really want to be in the hobby, communities like this are great because you can just comment down below. I can send links to looking for group discords.
Yeah.
And you just sort of muddle your way through it and don't expect perfection from the first or even the millionth time you play.
Yeah.
Thing about Dungeons and Dragons, right, is it's in the name, and so it already filters out the people that are not going to be interested because they hear the name Dungeons and Dragons and I don't want anything to do with that dragons shit. I play Call of Duty and all that, and they're not going to be interested. I mean, I had my Call of Duty player in my first ever campaign I ran, and I've been best mates with him since I was 5 years old, and he did not fit at all. He was an utter prick at the table. Absolute. Like, I had to kick him about
he's
3
a
weeks
Call
in.
of Duty player. I mean,
Yeah, but he's very much like he's an anti-nerd type of guy. He's like, I'm not into any of that nerd shit. like the druid is trying to tame a bear they just found. I attack the bear. Fuck you.
I have met this man.
You're taking too long.
I have met this man. He's not exaggerating.
He's down in a protein shake.
Yeah.
The funny part is my husband also occasionally plays Call of Duty, but that's the joke.
Man, your husband sounds like a.
Oh no, he's actually a very Side note, he's like the nicest person I've ever heard play Call of Duty in my life.
Only says the N word on weekend.
I was sitting there when we were engaged, and we're sitting he's at his computer, and he's like, "That was a great game, guys. Great game. And I'm like, "What are you playing?" Oh, Call of Duty. It's like, what in the world? I mean, quality of a good man, but like,
toxic is cool.
Yes, this is the funniest thing I'd ever heard. But no, it is correct. It's I think it comes down to what part of it you want to put up with. Because on the one hand, you're going to filter out some people and set an expectation of Dungeons and Dragons. But also it's like, you say Dungeons and Dragons is like, who's going to show up? Like an OSR player? Are you going to get the person who's super attached to certain aspects of New Age WotC? Are you going to get somebody who just, I don't know. That's why I'm as much as I would, like Jack, being a 5e apologist in the 2015, 2016 sense, because that's the one I played primarily through college because that was what was popular. I do think if I were being honest, I would prefer to say we're going to run something similar. Like it's like D&D, and avoid some of the baggage because they're going to go online. They're going to try to find a question to an answer, and it's going to be like
nothing worse than someone that has done their own research. Yeah. We have a quick Rumble rant for $2 dues from Jeff from Denkar. He recommends Basic Fantasy as an introductory game, because it's simple, based on the 3x version of D&D, and PDFs are free and books printed at cost on Amazon.
That's nice.
Didn't know that. That's not a bad little shout.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of saying that all you really need for D&D is your imagination, some dice, and a bit of graph paper. You don't really need rules.
Well, that's what I did.
Yeah, exactly.
And we called it D&D. I'd be like, oh, like my mum would be like, what are you guys doing today? We're playing Dungeons and Dragons. We're not.
Hey,
We
Kind
called it,
of.
even though none of us had a clue what we were doing. We just, it's Dungeons and Dragons.
we
Yeah.
created our own in school. We created our own little hodgepodge from stuff we did know about Dungeons and Dragons, and we shoved a load of Elder Scrolls into it.
Oh,
That's just what we
well,
did. Also, high five.
Savo just said no one put in a vote for Castles and Crusades. I just did it like a couple minutes ago. Castles
Yeah.
and Crusades, yeah.
I still need to get Troll Lord Steve on the show. He stood me up when it was like episode 7. He owes me.
Oh, right.
Steve.
We're missing over a crucial game, chess, because that will teach them how to move pieces on a grid.
Get out of
If
here,
you can't
nerd.
grasp that concept, then and like movement and all that type of thing, then I'm sorry, but
Listen, considering I won the poll, I'm the queen, and I'm gonna just like move over and knock you off the board. Excuse you.
You gotta remember the reason that Brass wants to play chess is because he's really good at chess.
That's why I don't like
True.
playing chess, because I don't know how to play chess. So it's my well, I know how to play chess, but it's just like, listen, there's like a talent level in chess that the power scaling in the chess tournament arc is absurd because you start there's the people who play chess occasionally versus a computer and loses, which is me. And then there's people who take it way too seriously and are 5 moves ahead, and you're sitting there with like getting your first move and they're like, in 5 moves I take yours and then we win, and I'm like, what are you even talking about?
only 5 moves ahead.
Only
Amateurs.
Is this like Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime going on? Like, are you about to whip out a trap card and put it on the table?
Oh, that's a very good question. Very good question. Yes, 2014 or 2024?
We're talking like 1684 rules. We are the old school OSR chess.
Fifel, that is the mark of a good commander.
Oh,
Oh. Yes.
Also, we do need to recognize AGP's Trinity City got released. You can go make a
Hey.
character in that if you want to do some superhero stuff.
nice.
That's true. There was a really shit superhero thing that released. That was it, Ship of Heroes. Don't know if any of you saw that. It was a
No.
superhero MMO. Eight people played it.
Terrible.
So
Also,
AGP, you haven't got a lot to beat. You need to defeat them. You need to get more than 8 players. You'd be great.
Here's the thing though. Whenever I think of superhero RPGs, I just think back to City of Heroes.
That's what it was
Which
based
was-
on. It was just a
Yeah,
shit
well,
City of Heroes.
yeah.
Like,
It's just like I just think back to a better time in a better place when my dad would finally let me play MMOs online, and I'm 8 and I made some like stupid named character because all the other names were taken. It was
I
such
once went on DC Online, the DC MMO, and I created a
yeah, I remember
character. I created a character that was all martial arts, and just all martial arts. That's all she did. And she was
Nice.
this little Japanese girl in like a cheerleader outfit and a red mask. And
All right,
and her superhero name was Waifu.
all right, but was her transport ability just jumping?
Yeah, just
Not
like jumping
flying.
around and
You-
climbing.
Honestly, that's peak superhero MMO movement, because if you're not just like boing,
Yeah, the
boing,
jump.
boing, boing,
Better than the
boing,
flying.
boing, boing, all over the place, like what are you even
Yeah.
doing?
I just found it. Yeah, I was very happy.
Alright,
with that
Jack.
fun.
right, you need to make that character now in AGP's game.
Maybe I
Go
will
on, live stream it.
if I can find some time.
Promotion.
Oh boy, we've gone way off base. Yang, why don't you tell us a little bit about your setting for this horror thing, and then we'll see about wrapping.
Well, Empire of the Undying Sun is a overall American horror themed campaign module. You start out.
I'm not laughing at you. It's a chat.
Okay,
Jack,
sure.
Jack, stop being stupid. I'm trying to be
What do I
serious.
do? Oh, that Jack.
Not you, but
You start out in the small town of South Bay, where there are strange things happening in the woods, where your characters unwittingly get drawn into archmage type complications, eventually with zombie invasions. You switch over to swashbuckling pirate adventures to go to the fabled Empire of the Undying Sun, a land that is jungle, teeming with wildlife ready to devour your flesh from the bones as you travel down a river. There are deserts that at night howl with the voices of the dead. There are ancient ruins for you to delve into, hopefully, if you're lucky, finding treasure, until you find yourself in the Black Pyramid, which is a mega dungeon that transforms itself like one of those pyramid-shaped Rubik's Cubes. And ultimately, you will have to make a choice that changes the fate of the world. So we've got that. We've got settings, the Dream Realm, where you can actually go into dreams and you can meet up with your friends. You can try to contact other people. You can try to contact ghosts of the dead or even your god in the Dream Realm. But there are also nightmares, which can haunt you, maybe even kill you in the Dream Realm, or come through and affect you in the real world. Or if your players are savvy enough, they could become somebody else's Freddy Krueger.
Ooh, okay.
That's an interesting twist.
So we have a new character class, the Empath, that allows them to use the abilities of other creatures and or people.
Oh, that's cool.
We also have an enhanced talent tree system, which the 5e skills are a little on the lame side. So this allows you to like drill down and gives you bonuses towards picking a play style for your characters and making those useful. And yes, that will be available on the 1E version as well, just slightly modified. We've got so in Empire of the Undying Sun, I sort of divided up into like easy, medium, hard, and chaotic evil DM mode for the difficulty level. So assuming you're playing anything from medium on, there are no death saving throws. But we do have a system of divine blessings, where if you are some sort of religiously oriented class or person, or just your background is in that, you can do quests for your god, and they will be able to stave off death for a round should somebody hit 0 HP.
Ooh.
So we have all that. We have simplified naval combat rules. It's a lot of good stuff in 450 pages.
hey.
That's a chunky
Nice.
book.
Thank you.
Huzzah! Very good.
Huzzah.
And the adventure modules, which fit in during the adventure in different places.
And now that we've had Yang's plug, and everyone can go and back that, I linked it earlier on. I could go and find it again. But why don't we get everyone else's plugs going? Alyssa, plug.
Well, I released my sequel to my sci-fi thriller. It is in July, so a couple months ago. It is a science fiction thriller with a little bit of a Western kind of aesthetic, including a lawman who gets a man of God who gets his hand dirty, or a space nun, which is more appropriate. Final shootout, gangs going straight at a settlement. So it's kind of has a little bit of the Western appeal while still being a science fiction thriller. And right now, right now I'm actually working on book number 9. So that'll be hopefully out in January or February. It is the part 2, the end to my, I would call it the Juniper duology. It is a pseudo historical low fantasy, which resembles more of like a Grimm's fairy tale where magic is rare and weird and kind of just not quite controllable. But you combine that with a time that would basically, we have the East India Trading Company surrogate combined in all of that, plus a couple houses in the northern continent. So you have a lot of political intrigue that's centered around this young man who lost the use of his arm and leg in a plague 12 years ago, but has suddenly become the heir to the throne of the southern nation after the death of his brother. Yes, 2 of my books, actually three now. The To Those Who Haunt You is a mini ghost story collection if you're in the mood for something spooky this Halloween season. Also, my 2 science fiction thrillers are both available in Audible, and all of them were adapted by Son of Sonnet, who did a fantastic job with the challenges that came with each. So, yeah, all those are available on Audible. But yeah, that, and I'm working on the end of that. We're seeing if Emond can overcome basically everyone looking down on him and the dangers that are around him to become the king that his brother would be proud of. So, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't we go for Dean next?
Yes, working very hard on the complementary adventure coming out at the end of this year. The rules are all absolutely finalized and working well. So this is now it's a free adventure, which is part of our introductory module. It's more of a dungeon, kind of drawing upon the classic feel of the older systems, but in a very modern mechanical framework. That just simply works well. So working hard on that. I think next week we've got some very exciting news on someone we're working with on the art. So we're starting to get some of the art together for this project. And then I think hopefully around November time, we will be starting the Monday with you, Jack, and Brass and Vicky, and running that forward for people to have a look. And in the meantime, pop over to my YouTube channel, Until Destiny, if you want to have a look at some really good shorts that just drop you into certain mechanical features of the game. And I got a little bit of a story, part 2. Nylandra the wizard overstretched himself, didn't kill all the orcs, and they're getting their revenge on him. That's a nasty
I know that
affair.
feeling.
Yep. And I got some light reading tonight as well.
Hey.
I know that one. Well, I
Brass.
hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Right, I've got absolutely shit tons in the pipeline. So, first of all, I have a video scheduled to upload in 51 minutes. It is a review of the Book of Dragons, the new Dungeons & Dragons, Book of Dragons, all that type of thing. I've got another video that I'm working on, which might be out Friday, might not, depends on how I feel like. It's a tier list, and it's not an F to S tier list like I normally do. I am ranking Dungeons & Dragons monsters, not the Tarrasque, based on how likely I am to be able to beat them in a fight. So we're talking goblins and orcs and gnolls and all that type of thing, right? I've got a longsword and a gambeson. That's all I've permitted myself. I'm not going unarmed because I wouldn't beat I wouldn't beat a goblin unarmed. Okay, they bite my fingers off or something. So there's that. And the third thing, I'm also writing something. I've been writing something since I was 9 years old. But I am working on a fantasy novella, possibly a series, depends how I feel. And it is a sort of gritty fantasy winter survival. It's about a village in the arse end of nowhere that's been abandoned in the height of a endless winter, because it's a magical cursed winter and it's not ending for some reason. and they got no funding. Their supply caravans keep getting raided by goblins. Every time the goblins attack, they're whittling down their guard force, their garrison, until there's like less than 20 people remaining in this village. And so they have to make the difficult decision to leave in the middle of winter with no supplies to go to the nearest town for aid. And that town might not have enough supplies to aid them. That sort of thing.
Tension.
And it's about
Well,
goblins.
That's okay. So in 50 minutes, then you guys need to go over to the Brass Drake's channel, which is linked in chat, and watch his new drop. Other than that, keep an eye on this channel here because I have some Wayward Realms news to drop tomorrow. But for now, I am going to love and leave it. I realize people want me to get an outro for these things, which I'm still kind of trying to fumble my way around. So this is just going to sort of end kind of quickly. But do like, subscribe, go and do all the things for all the lovely people. Thanks for coming along, guys. Have a good night.
Cheers.